Good morning, everybody. It is September 17th of 2025. I am I was watching my session from September 24th of last year, and John and I are talking about a particular part. And excuse my voice, I did some TED work yesterday and had some new discoveries and was hollering, so Um, but I'm inspired to do this right now. I don't want to make my part wait for this work. And as I realized, as I sat down to do it and correct something, I thought maybe I should share my process with you. So here is here's the part. Let me share screen. So first thing I did, I thought, okay, the part's name is Ginger. And I'm going to put the session up before this. And I'm not going to read the journals for these few days. It's 4 days because John and I go over them in depth in the session. And part of what we're going over is a part called Imogene. Her new name is Ginger. Now, when I first discovered her, I called her Klutz because it's a klutzy part of me that tends to hurt myself, stub my toe, fall and scrape my knee. I can't count how many times I've done that in my life, um, etc. And in the session, John and I are talking about how can parts talk to each other. Now, this part stubbed my toe so that I wouldn't have to go out on a job. And this part was rationalizing, well, I'd rather hurt myself and be too injured to go out and have to assassinate somebody. So this was part of what she did. Now, that act happened when I was in my 30s, my mid to late 30s. And when I put her in here, I discovered that she was created when I was 7. So if you see here, her ages are 7 to 59 years old. And I was thinking, well, if she's only a -6, and I guess I need to bring up John's chart of, if I can find it, darn. um, his consciousness level chart. How you have your co-conscious parts, then your subconscious parts. And for me, my subconscious parts are 1 to 2, negative. My repressed parts are from a 3 to 6, which this is that. And then my wounded kids parts are from 7 to 10, and these are all negatives. And then any part that interacted had demonic activity going on is a 10 to a 20, because it's pretty terrifying. So I thought if she knows what's going on with other parts. Now here's the logic behind it. John teaches that on this chart, let me find it. Dang it. Now this isn't John's chart per se. This is the one that I created for myself. John's chart, let's see, can I find it? Yeah, here's John's. All I did was take his and tweak it a little bit. Here's your conscious awareness, co-conscious, suppressed, -1 to 2, repressed, -3 to 6, and wounded kids 7 to 10, and John doesn't have a demonic level on here. So I took that and tweaked it a little bit. And John says that I'll use his because, each little circle or square is a different part or a part with this particular characteristic. Is that the parts up here parts, whatever level they're on, they do not know what's going on below them. But the parts below at whatever level know what's going on above them. So I was thinking if Ginger knows what Finnegan, and you'll hear me talk about this in the session, that I got a call in the middle of the night. I was in my mid-30s. It was back in the day when we had cordless phones, not cell phones. Got a call in the middle of the night to go do a job. And, I'm sure that job was to harm someone. And I thought, well, that part, his name is Finnegan. He had to do some pretty nasty stuff. So what level was Finnegan on? Let me find him. I'm gonna move this. And that's why I love this PowerPoint and the charts and graphs because I can cross-reference things. No, come on now. Finnegan. Okay. He's a minus 19. So how could Ginger, and I'm glad I looked for this because I was going to put Ginger at 18. We'll go back to that chart. If Finnegan is down here, how could a part that's at this level know what's going on below it? It doesn't. So I realized, when I created her part and did her bio and everything, what page are you on? 1844. So gender. So you can use this find app application and find what you're looking for rather than scrolling. She's a minus 6. So when I first created her and I evaluated her emotional intensity with this chart and graph, right here she is, Ginger. Okay. All she had was just, where did you go, Ginger? She's down here in purple. Early warning system. Okay. Meaning she knows something's gonna happen or is happening or I'm remembering something. And so therefore she would injure me so I would either not remember or not have to go do that job. I put her down as, or she told me and I put her down as confusion and aggressive protector. She was protecting me. And that's it. She just has these two qualities. And this is the 3 to 6 range for emotional impact. So if she is, and I'll go back here again, if Finnegan, he's the one that would go out and do the job, and if he's at a minus 19 and she is aware of him, that means she has to be at the same level as him because these parts know everything that's going on above them. And Finnegan is here. And Ginger is here. So if this is accurate, if Ginger is at this level, how could she know what's going on below her? She can't. So it made me realize, well, then that means she has to be in this level. And she has to be at a pretty darn deep level because Finnegan's at a minus 19 and I only go to minus 20, right? So this is what happens when you first discover a part and you get their basic qualities. You're going to make an intuitive guess, or the part's going to tell you point blank. And I don't remember what happened here, but I think that she was not ready to reveal the true depth of her pain. Now, there's another factor that went on here. When she was created, the incident that created her, and that comes from this chart and graph, okay, here's Ginger right here. It was part of an incident where there's 5 parts. Now, this is Tom, who he was a boy sex slave, and I called him Temple because he got hit in the head with a gun. Ginger here hurt herself. Well, there's a whole lot more going on here. Let me see. I need to go back to Skylar and Julie, which you'll see from here. Skylar and Julie were parts that were athletic and being trained. Well, Skylar was very adept. She was not klutzy, but Julie was. Julie would make mistakes. Julie would give up secrets and share it with other people because she was good-hearted. Julie split into Skylar because Julie wasn't succeeding. And Skylar was like, well, I need to stop talking to other people. I need to stop sharing my secrets. I need to stop being a klutz. And so she got herself together and she became a success with the training. And she did a lot of climbing and vertical movement and weaving in and out, as to where Julie did running and stuff, but would trip and whatever. But she got a grip and turned into Skylar. Now, at a certain point, Julie hurt herself because she didn't want to have to compete. She wanted to be injured and not have to perform. So she injured, I think it was her ankle, and went up and said, "Look, I can't do this. I'm injured." Well, they whacked her upside the head with a gun, the butt of a gun. Let me go back down there. And Tom was born. Now, that hit in the head was -6. He was a sex slave and training to be a, a killer. And anyway, it was a -6. The rest of this incident is I had to eat the pain of horror and hide secrets and guilt. So I got injured and then I got to stuff it. And I'm having to watch, I think I have these out of order now that I'm looking at them. Cardinal Dolan came to School Sisters of Notre Dame, and he's doing a sermon, and I'm falling asleep. Well, now all of a sudden he's sacrificing a baby on the altar. I wake up and am horrified, and it's -14. Yeah, that's a different incident. So yeah, I'm surprised I didn't figure it out just from this set of parts, right? That Ginger would have had to have been a -14 because she's having to eat the pain. Even though it's not physical pain, I believe she still had a sore ankle, which was like at a 6, or maybe it was easing by then and it was a 5 or a 4. But she's got to eat the pain. So technically, I'm thinking she was born at a 6 when she got hit in the head with the gun. Got to swallow the pain. We got a swollen ankle, whatever that pain level was, probably a 6. And and then has to sit and watch a baby, which granted, I'm realizing now that these are 2 different incidents. Or no, she's telling me that after she got hurt, it was at the point where they had to go to this ritual anyway. So she's got an injured ankle, and now we're going into a ritual where we go down to a -14. So she starts off at a 6, and now it's not just swallowing the pain from her ankle and the bash on the head. But now she has this emotional, mental, and spiritual trauma that's a 14. So she's going from a 6 to swallow the pain, swallow the pain, swallow the pain. So not just physical pain, but any kind of pain. So I'm realizing that, and I just want you to come with me on my thought process here. She may have started at a 6, but in this particular incident, at the age of 7, went to a -14, right? But Ginger stayed with, or Imogene stayed with me my entire life. And anytime I would come near a memory or want to sabotage me having to go do something nasty, I would injure myself. And it would generally be a 6 or a 7 or maybe an 8. Stub a toe, break a toe in a bone in my foot, scrape my knee up, whatever injury I'm going to have. And now this could be for anybody else, a part that might cut, okay, or burn. So I would create injuries. So I wouldn't have to go anything. So this part stayed with me my whole life. And the reason John and I are discussing her is because at this point in time, last year, I tripped and scraped my knee. Except this time, instead of it suppressing memories, I'm asking myself, why did I do that? I don't do this. I don't, why do I turn into a klutz? I start thinking about it and realize, oh my goodness, it's a part. And so I create a bio and I create all her stuff. Oops. So she's been with me my whole life. Now we're going to go back to here. So she's been with me my whole life. We've been through some awful, awful, awful stuff. And yes, parts get compartmentalized. But how could she, if she's at this level right here, how could she know and work with and interact with the part that's way down here? And that's when it hit me that she must be at this level. A year ago, when I was talking to John about it, I was putting it together, but I never took the time to go back and do what I'm doing right now. Because I was hot and heavy in the middle of stuff. I had 20 parts flying at me or whatever it was. But now that I'm not having 20 parts fly at me, I can go, wait a minute. Ginger must be at this lower, lower, lower level. So I wanted to go correct her thing, her impact, her intensity. So this morning I sat down and I made myself stop so that I could get the recording together and do this. So I'm like, okay, emotional intensity. I'm looking at what I recorded way back when. Okay, she's an early warning system, yes, when she was a 6. Well, probably not, now that I think about it. Well, no, she is an early warning system. So right now, I'm interacting with her and asking her. She is an early warning system because if I got memories coming up, she would injure me to suppress the memories. So she's an early warning system. And I've always been confused by why I would be a klutz for certain time periods. Like when I first met my husband, I was klutzy. And it went away over time. And look at this purple line here, nothing, nothing. And she's an aggressive protector. So that made sense to me. Oh, you're a 6. You only have these 2 qualities. Okay. Well, now I'm going, okay, now I know you're at a much deeper level. So let's come over here. And this is what I would put for if it didn't apply to them. So let me delete that. So now I'm reevaluating her, going, okay, Imogene, Ginger, you're an early warning system at that level. Because she's born at that level, but evolved down into deeper levels. So when she's in this deeper level, is thing upsetting, disturbing, secondary? Well, I have to say to myself, well, Finnegan goes to a minus 19. Let me look at this chart here. Because Finnegan was the part that she was, I gotta find you now. When I was in my mid 30s, here he is, Finn. He's at a minus 19. So if he's at that level and she's at that level, they have to be able to talk to each other. And if he's going to have this depth and level of emotional, mental, spiritual pain, or any part is, and you got to swallow the pain, and that's what she does, she has to be at a 19, right? Not a 6. So, okay, she's at a minus 19, so I got the demonic level done. And since she's, I need to pull this out a little bit. I want to look at, oh, dang it, I hate it when it does that. Okay. Here we go, Ginger. So all these are the same incident. So within an incident, there is a guard at the horrifying level. Well, back then, I didn't realize that. So now I'm realizing, oh, is she the guardian? One of these two has to be, and it's usually whoever presents first in time in terms of my memories, because guardians always present first for me. Once the guardians relax, then they show me the rest. So now I've got to go back here and figure out which part presented first. So she was 922. Tom presented, what's the date? I didn't put dates on here. That sucks. Okay, April 19th. So Tom presented first, April 19th. Tom and Tina. That's right. Temple. Okay, Temple. Temple. Oh, you are Temperance, I think. Let me see. And I even got that wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Temperance. Tem Temperance. Oops, temper. Eat the stuff, pain of horror hides. Okay, so she's eating the horror, and you got Ginger who's eating the physical pain, and they are working together. Temperance. Now, this is a part that presented before I ever met Jon. And I know this is April because this is when I was talking to Jon about that part, but it was way earlier. So I need to find TEM. And this is what I love about the charts and graphs. Um, on the computer, because I can find when they first presented. Temperance, we don't get too fat now, do we? This is where I used to stuff food so that I didn't have to feel. Temperance was born. Temperance is furious at Janet and Temple. And I remember that she came up way earlier in my journal entries. And this is how I get to know my parts. Is just you have one little thing that's bugging and pulling at me and I believe that these are my journals from 2023 before I met Jon, and I believe she's in my temperance. Maybe it was Tia Temple. No, neither one of them come up. So it must be in the 2024s. And this is why when I put a journal entry, I will put the names of the parts, either the old name or the new name, for this very reason, so that I can search for them. Okay, oh, dang it. All right, journals 2024. So now I'm going, okay, TE at Temple. I know it was either Temple. Here it is, October 5th of 2024. And I met Jon in April of 2023. So, okay, another transfer. Hit her in the temple with the butt of a gun. She said, now, we don't share, do we? Because I believe me and the other girls. Oh, that's right. I went to the new nurse that came to School Sisters of Notre Dame. I had the injury. The nurse is looking at me, and I was telling the nurse about being raped by Sister Mary John, who was actually Mr. Mary John, a tranny in disguise, and I told that nurse. And so she went to investigate because she had a good, true heart, a Christian, and they murdered her because she found out and I told. That's how this part was born. That's right. Temple was dizzy. Somewhere I could not perform. Temple was sent to the nurse. The nurse was a new nurse who had been there for a few days. That is the very large lady. She's a nun. The nurse asked what happened. And the nurse said, all right, the nurse said Temple was out of it, perhaps a concussion. He told the nurse that he tripped and that's how he cut himself. Temple, cut myself on the head. Temple was talking about how Sister Mary sent her to the newspaper. Temple slipped and said, Mr. Mary John. So I'm kind of out of it, and I let slip that this nun is a man in drag. The nurse said, now, why would you say such a thing? Temple said, because she has a penis. Everybody knows that. We all know Mr. Mary John. The nurse brushed her off. Temple went back out to the obstacle course. Ginger is born and stuffs the physical pain. It's about a week later, and there was a graduation of sorts. There was a table of sweets. Temple was there eating with the large nun. The large nun said quietly, help is coming, don't you worry. So she's reporting it to whoever. And so now this is about another nun in drag saying, oh, temperance, temperance, we don't want to get fat now, do we? Temperance was stuffing with food. It was spoken to me, although Hazel was looking at the large nun. The nun was nervous and eating a lot. Hazel seemed to know something and was looking at the fat nun like the nun was meat on the table. Oh, that's right. A week later, we were all taken to the chapel area for some sort of ceremony. That's when the large nun, the nurse, the good person, was taken up front and introduced that she had been there for 10 days, but this was her official introduction. Right then is when ropes were placed around her wrists. She was surprised and asked what was going on. No one answered. Two men removed a huge cross from its pedestal, laid it down behind her. She was pushed down onto and tied to it. She was hollering, what's going on here? What's going on here? Her ankles were then tied to the base of the cross as well. That's when two men sliced the skin on top of her arms and started peeling the skin down. Once her skin was peeled down, it looked like she had wings, and then they raised the whole thing up onto the pedestal. So they were making wings out of her skin and raised her up on a cross. Sister Mary John said some sort of incantation or prayer or threat or all of the above. Then that large woman was disemboweled. She was screaming and screaming and screaming. Sister Mary John was talking about how what happens here is her business, and meaning theirs. And this is what happens if you talk. So I, realizing that I let slip to the nurse goes to get help and is reporting things. I'm internalizing it as though it's my fault. So we were all made to watch until she died. It seemed like hours and hours and hours. I think in reality, it might have been about 1 hour. The crucified woman called for Jesus many times, but she never revealed who told her the secret of the transvestites. She was questioned over and over and over, and she never told. And so I'm feeling guilty, but also, oh, good, I'm not going to be crucified, you know? Guilty and responsible and all of it. I stood there watching her be questioned and murdered slowly. Temperance was born. Temperance knew it was because Temple, the guy who got hit in the temple, Temple told because he was in a concussion. Temple believes that it was his fault that the nun was brutally murdered on the cross, worse than Jesus. Temple believes that Jesus will never forgive him. Temperance, the one who had to witness this crucifixion, is furious at Janet and Temple because Janet got the original injury. Temple got hit in the head. And then this is just a back and forth between the parts. Skylar says Janet always talks too much. Janet wants to stop the abuse. Skylar keeps her mouth shut. Temple and Janet let secrets out. Because Janet would share with her other competitors where the traps were. Because she was good-hearted. Didn't want people to fail. Well, Janet realized I need to keep my mouth shut and turn into Skylar. Temple also let slip secrets. Janet says it's no secret. All the kids know. Well, Temple was loopy and didn't know what he said. Temple and Temperance paid for it. That nun was murdered brutally for it on the cross after screaming and screaming, looking at her entrails out. That nun said, she looked up, I shall die as you did, Father. And then she was gone. So Mr. Mary John said, look, this is your savior, a fat, flayed traitor. Look at it, look at it. This is your savior. So I got another thing going on here. The savior Jesus is being equated with this ugly, nasty, peeling of skin and, all this. We all stared. If we looked away, we were jabbed with a hand or hit on the back of the head. We had to watch it all. Angie, Mary, and I, my two sisters, held hands for a moment. Then our hands were knocked apart. We each stood alone in terror. So this is the incident that created, well, presented first in the incident. And so what am I doing here? I'm trying to figure out who are guards. So it was Temperance. Is that Tina or Tom or Tina? Temple got hit in the head. That's right. Temperance had to stuff the pain. But oh, that's right. I was trying to figure out who presented first, and it was Temple. Okay. So Temple is the guard. He presented first. That's Tom. That's how, oh my gosh, and I have Tom. Okay, so it's got to be Tina that is the guard for that incident. Tom, what do I have you for? He's a -6. That's right. That's why he's not here. So Temperance, the one who had to witness the crucifixion, is the guard for the horrifying moment. Tom, okay, right. Tom, Tina. Oh gosh, see, I got these all mixed up. Why does Tom have... Oh man, I mixed all this up. Dang. So Tina is on this level because she's a 12. Tom is a 6, so he's on the other level. So I'm pretty sure what happened here is I put, okay, Tom does have qualities here. He's got 3 qualities there. Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is Imogene, Ginger. What are her qualities? Because it started off at a 6, but took it all the way to, in this incident, a 14. Demonic, what is it? Involvement. There wasn't any personal physical demonic interaction, but there was demonic energy going on in that room. So I'm gonna start asking Ginger, okay, when you were, okay, yeah. So I have the guard for the upsetting incident, the guard for the disturbing incident, because after this, Cardinal Dolan sacrificed a baby on the altar, and that was pretty darn startling. So it was pretty darn disturbing. So Ginger has spiritual guilt. She's telling me. She's she blames herself. She harms herself. Trauma bonded. Trauma bonded. Yes, she was trauma bonded to Hazel DeRosac and Mr. Mary John, 2 transvestites that intentionally trauma bonded her. She is obedient and submissive. She is publicly functional when she needs to be. If it's Parents' Day and they're coming to watch. She compartmentalizes pain. Is there betrayal going on? No. Amor, is it, what is this? She has sexualized part? No, because that is Janet and Skylar, Julie and Skylar. So no, she's not sexual. Helpless young child part, comforter. No, that is Temperance who stuffs herself with food. Substances, no. Child part wants to get help stop the abuse by disclosing. Not necessarily, she just wants to hurt herself so she doesn't have to do stuff. Okay, so let me pull this out now. So now I understand that Ginger is at a minus 19 because she evolved over time. She may have started at a 6, but she evolved. In this one incident, I'm going to do this. She evolved to a minus 19 from the ages of 7 to 59. Now, not all of the incidents are minus 19s, but she got there, had to stuff the pain, and that's where she wound up. So you'll see how a part evolves over time, just through my these 52 years, this part has had to endure, would either create an injury so that I would not remember, or would create an injury so that I wouldn't have to go do something nasty. Right? Injure yourself to distract from more memories. And I need to also put on here, um, stuff the pain. That was another part of her job, to stuff the pain. And it could have been emotional, mental, spiritual, but generally physical pain. And yes, there are other parts that split during other incidents and took the pain and compartmentalized the pain. But this is where the self-injury started. And I'm just wondering if it isn't temperance, eat to stuff pain of horror, hide the secret, and guilt. that this part evolved over time as well. But I don't know that she maintained throughout. She's saying no, she would split off because the horrors were so different. But for Ginger just took the job over the years, injured myself, and stuffed the pain, if that makes sense. So, okay, so now that I understand she's a minus 19, and she has just revealed to me on this chart here, oh, why does that do that? Okay, she's a minus 19. She has these qualities. Yeah, when I discovered her way back when, okay, she was an aggressive protector. I guess I'll probably leave this because when she first presented, she says, "Yeah, I was a 6." But over the years, she took more and more and more. She's an early warning system for if memories are coming up. And also, and I'm wondering right now, are these two very different parts, but I'm not sure. So for right now, this is how I'm sorting it out. I might discover later, okay, there's two parts here. One that's an early warning system, turns into a clot, injures myself, so that I'm too preoccupied with my injury to remember what was starting to pop up. And also, and no matter how bad those injuries are, because there's rape going on, there's hits to the head, there's a twisted ankle. I think these are physical injury pain. And it was Temperance who stuffed with food to eat the pains, eat the emotional, mental, spiritual pain. But Ginger ate the physical pain for this incident and for many others. So this is fascinating as I'm going through this. Now, generally, I would put the squiggle lines here to say, okay, this does not apply to her, but I think this might be a rare part that um, has started off at one level and got pushed down further and further and further to another level over time. So I'm going to leave that. So now what I need to do, I'll save that. And I need to correct her paperwork. So right here, as I'm doing this, like I added the new thing, the new realization and the new part. So I'm going to create the thumbnail because this is part of they want to be accurately represented once I figure it out and it's co-conscious. So I need to save this. Okay. And under my thumbnails, this is what you'll see in front of my videos. So it's Ginger. I'm going to replace the old picture with the new one. Yes. Okay. So that is done. Now I need to go through all my charts and graphs. I can close that. Let me do that. I need to go to form number 1 and say, okay, Ginger, where'd you go? You're purple. Here she is. She's a minus 19. Even though the other form will reflect, started at a 6 but took it to a 19. Okay, so this one's corrected. Form number 2, and this is why I have them numbered. So I don't have to, so I tend that. So I'm going to keep her over here as a 6, but when I come to this middle area, I know she evolved into a 19. And she's feeling really good about the fact that her paperwork is being corrected. So save that. Form 1's done. Form 2 is done. I can close that. Form 3. Okay. Oops. Here we go. Parts. oops, and I label it under IFS, Internal Family Systems, and this is what I have on the internet for download, form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Used to be 10, down to 7, and I realized it could be 5 forms. So, timeline and impact graph. This is where you see the visual representation of your life. For me, I have a different tab for each year. So, Ginger is at 7 years old. And you'll see I've got two charts for 7 years old. There's Ginger. She's a -19. Okay. And so what I thought was a 6 is actually a 19. Because as you'll see, as time moves on, she had to eat a lot of pain. And this is just the age of 7, right? So that has been corrected. We'll save that, close it, and go to the next form. Now, form number, let me see, we'll close that. Form number 4 does not have an emotion level on it. It measures the emotions, the actual, not, I guess that other thing was an emotional impact level and how it impacts your psychology, the psychology of that part. The emotion levels is just simply checking with that part and see, are you angry, fearful, or in despair? So I don't have to do anything here because the impact is not on here. Well, it is, but not numerically. Okay. So we can skip that. Form number 5. Now, this form has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. However, now I need to find her. Find Ginger. Okay, close. I want to reflect her accurate um, impact level. So save. Now, her existence, giving her existence means I'm acknowledging her where she was at. And at that point, well, she was at a 6, but she evolved to a 19. So it's correctly. Now, when I give them a new life, I say I don't record their impact or their age because they're going to grow and develop and their impact is going to reduce and their age is going to grow. So I don't record it anywhere else. It's just this one page under existence where I need to correct it. Okay, so did I do everything? Yes. I got all 5 forms corrected, and the PowerPoint I showed for where she was born, where she went to in the incident, and where she went to in life. Now, this is the only part that has this. I'll tell you that. So I'm going to sit here and think about it for a while. Is this right or is there other parts? And she's telling me no. She would hurt myself to prevent jobs. And as she prevented jobs, she'd injure me and I'd feel the pain and she would and it would stuff it down because if I couldn't get out of doing the job, I had to stuff the pain to do the job, which in turn would aggravate the injury and I'd have more pain to stuff. You know what I mean? So that's all I need to do with those forms. Let me just double check. So you can see how through the journals themselves and the way that I label them, the PowerPoints and the forms, seeing them in chronological order and groupings by incident, how I can cross-reference and check things to figure out their true existence, experience. And when they first present, I have to do it intuitively, and the part doesn't always give me all the information. And I could be overwhelmed, which I'm sure a lot of you are, with a crap load of memories. And so you're, oh my gosh, okay, I got her, I got her, I got her. But as time goes on and you're not overwhelmed with stuff, you get and you go back and rewatch your sessions or go back and read a journal, you start to understand, wow, well, now that I know a lot more about my life, I can see how this one part moved through time and was born at 7, but affected me at the age of 59 years old. Or even when I met my husband at 39, I turned into a klutz because that part thought, oh my God, he's going to want me to be a sex slave. I don't want to be a sex slave. I want to be a klutz. And maybe I could, whatever. So start to see how your parts move through your life and affect your life, which I find really fascinating. And in having the recall and figuring it out, it's, oh, excuse me, you just understand yourself so much better. And in the understanding, will probably go away. I'm not saying I'm never going to stub a toe or maybe twist an ankle again, but it's probably not going to be because I'm suppressing a memory or stuffing pain. Do you see what I mean? So that's I don't know. I just find this entire process incredibly fascinating to understand how my mind works and why it works that way. And I feel empowered by it because now I can be the captain of the ship, the CEO of the corporation, the core personality running things because my parts are talking to me. And so, yeah, I've got 1,157 parts now, or whatever it is. Am I going to be able to recall each one, pull it up? No, but when I'm watching a session and something just sticks out to me, and a part said, "You need to fix that. I'm not a -6," and I'll give myself a little sticky note. What does it say here? Fix Imogene. I put Imogene impact -6 question. And that's what I have to go through to figure it out and sort it out. But without being able to cross-reference and look at my journal and figure out, did you present first, second, third, and why did you do that? And what's the incident again and all the details. But now I've re-reminded myself of the entire incident and I understand that one piece of the pie so much more clearly as to where a year ago when she presented, I had a glimpse of her, but now I have more than a glimpse. I have a bigger picture view and how she fits into the puzzle of my life. So anyhow, that's it for that. I hope that wasn't too convoluted or confusing. And I know we switched around through a lot of different forms, but that's why I created them. So all about cross-referencing. That's all it is. So if you can find a system to cross-reference without using the computer, fantastic. I have a girl that I work with. She doesn't want to use the computer, and that's fine. That's why I created the forms I'll share again on my website. Okay, here we go. Oh dang, now I gotta move these windows. Okay, my website. Take it to the nextlevelhealing.com or simply warlindy.com. Okay, we'll blow this up. Charts and graphs. You see how when you hover over it, you get this drop down. Downloadable charts and graphs. The following are the charts and graphs. So you've got your new part worksheet. The chronological list, you make a map, the emotional intensity, which is their consciousness level, their psychological makeup, the timeline, emotional impact, emotion levels, their health check, the lifelog, printable forms for those who don't want to use the computer. Right here, download them. It gives you the exact same thing that I used in printable form. It's actually not exact. It's a little different. Let me go here. Blank forms, paper forms. Instead of the way mine look, where it's all these cubes and cells, this is what it looks like. You know, okay, you got a part, date that it emerged. So if you have an incident, who's the first one that emerged? That's a guardian. Their name, their age, their impact level. Do they have a picture? Did you make a bio for them? That's what this is. It's their bio, their name, their whatever. And you don't have to have pictures. I told my friend if that's too much, I said then what you need to do is go stand in front of the mirror and say, "Hello, Ginger. You don't look like that klutz anymore. You're not that injured part anymore. This is not you. This is your new image. Strong, vibrant, beautiful, colorful." Go stand in the mirror and tell your parts, this is what we look like now. Or in my case, I give them an old picture and a new picture. Did you put their journals? Do they have journal entries? Have you checked their emotion levels? Which is the form with the anger, fear, despair. Are you venting? Are you doing TED Talks? How many TED Talks have you done for this part? Have you checked on their body, their mind, their spirit? Given them a new life, a new name, picture, clothes, a tour of your house, your neighborhood, your town. Destroy their prison. Do they have a new purpose? Baptism. Now, this won't all get filled out on day one, but as you work with them over time and as they pop up and say, look, I want a new purpose, you can grab their thing. So, and here's the emotional impact level so you can evaluate, are they positive? Are they -1 to 2? Are they -3 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 to 20? Emotions. Here's where, you just get yourself a marker and do your levels. You're going to check their body, eyes, ears, nose, hands. A lot of times I find out details about the incident. My nails were scraping on something, or I had a rifle butt in my back and didn't know it until I did this form, etc. The mind, were you degraded? I should make this bigger. Were you degraded, humiliated, embarrassed? Was there electrocution? Symbols, cards, earphones, goggles, glasses, drowning, all these different things. And spiritually, did you feel, were there trigger words, phrases, ordinances? Did you feel abandoned by God? And sometimes my part will say, I didn't feel abandoned by God, but I knew in this place God certainly wasn't present, right? It's feeling abandoned by God with a different word. Did you feel betrayed by God? Like God was curses, holidays, like all of it. You check on the part. And in doing so, they feel validated. I'll show you this one a little bit closer. So it's the same thing that I have horizontally with the colored cubes. Is this part, does it feel guilty spiritually, or is it an atheist? Does it self-destruct? Does it harm itself? Is it trauma bonded, etc.? And I've put on here the demonic measuring stick. Is there a presence in the environment? Is it now wanting to involve you? is it now personally, physically interacting with you? Or now here, if you've got a perpetrator possessed by a demon that's raping you, that's even worse because now it's, personally interact. You see it in someone else and it's interacting with you. Or are you being made to accept a demon into you? Because if you don't, they're going to kill you or whatever. So these are those qualities. So these forms, I guess I'll say, are in on the website, and it will just help you to. I'll stop share. So my friend, what she's doing, she got herself a file folder or a box, right, where she can hang files in it, like a milk crate or something. And one file is one part. She said she even got little name tag saying, "Hello, my name is," and she'll put the part's name, and that's the label for the file. And she's going to put them in order as she discovers them by their age, the age of the incident, the age that had happened and that part was created. And what she's going to do, she said she says, "Well, how do I do journals?" I said, "That folder should contain anything and everything to do with that part, meaning the checklists, the journals, any picture you might want to represent them, whatever. Everything about that part goes in that file." She said, "Well, my journal's in a book." I said, "Well, what I would do is take the book to Kinko's and copy every single page of your book because you don't want to ruin the original." So you got all these copies. And so on page 6 of your journal, this one particular part, let's call him George, is in the center of the page. I said, just cut that page, jot down the date of the journal, and now you have George's entry that goes into the file, his file. And you'll look for all the entries for George and do that. And always remember to keep the date of the, because you're cutting your paper up, jot the date on the corner of it. Because as you go back to his file and you want to look at, well, what else was I remembering during that time period? You'll have the date and you'll be able to go back to your original book and go, oh, that's why I remembered this because this and this were popping their heads up too. And there's a tie between them. A memory from a 6-year-old part could connect with a memory from a 12-year-old part. There's strings that attach them. Anyway, so, and she says, well, what if I get it wrong? What if I think he's 6 and he's 20 or 20, etc.? I said, do everything in pencil. I do everything in pencil. And when you later on down the road, as you clear things up like I just did, with an impact level, not an age per se, you just go and fix it. Because the part's not always going to reveal to you everything all at once. I can't count how many parts I had the wrong age on because it was an intuitive guess. And the part wasn't willing to show me the whole incident so I could locate it in space and time. But I was perfectly happy to give it existence. Okay, I'm going to guess that you're 6 and I'm going to guess that your impact is this. But down the road, you can clear it up for them. So anyway, but that's how she does hers. I have 2 girls that I work with, and everything they do is on paper. They don't do anything on the computer. I just love doing it on the computer because I can do find and find stuff without flipping through folders. So, anyhow, I guess that's it. So that's where the forms are on the website. And the digital ones are as well. So I guess I will let you go. God bless you all. If anyone wants to call me, talk to me, get to know me, have assistance as you're going through things, contact me. I'm more than happy to help you out. Spend an hour or two once a week or twice a week. If you're working with Jon Uhler, even better, you know, or a lot of the 2 girls that I work with also have sessions with Jon. And I'll also say right here and now, I have begun sessions with Jon again, except instead of 2 hours twice a week, it's going to be 2 hours twice a month because I still have memories and stuff, and I'm generally able to detangle them, but I don't know. I just need someone to talk to about it. And hopefully, you know, maybe they'll stop after 3 months again or something. So, anyhow, I love you all. Contact me if you want to. Let's become friends. And I wish you well. I wish you Godspeed on your journey. And have a great day. See you next time.